Welcome back to the LCS Lounge. We got Inspired joining us for this pregame. Here are the teams that are playing today. Shopify and NRG doing that huddle. And Bugi is making his Summer Split appearance.
Yeah, the change after the 3 weeks that they've had, going into the break, bringing back Bugi. Of course, he was working more as like a player coach behind Tomio, so it's not too big of a change, but it's still surprising to me to bring in a rookie and then only have him in for the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, listening to their kind of comms that they put out with Revan talking about the change, it definitely seemed more like okay, we want to try something because nothing that we're doing is working right now. One thing I will say though, because Inspired, you and I talked about this kind of off camera, but Bugi as a player kind of already fit this meta going in, and a lot of times last split he was already playing the Lilia, he was already playing the brand, right? So it was interesting. You thought it was interesting that they had chosen Tomio for this split, just generally.
Yeah, I think that was the best playstyle for Shopify last split, playing AP jungle with like tank mid or just playing for Bugi to get ahead and then carry the team fights. And basically right now that was the perfect time to pull this off, and they decided to make that roster change. So I was not really sure why that decision was made, but now going back with Bugi, we were practicing against them and they seemed like a pretty decent team.
Nice.
And the one thing that I liked about Bugi just way back, of course, way back last year when they were with TSM, yes, gave him a lot of direction. In fact, I remember their support at the time was Chime, and their jungle proximity towards their support was extremely high, one of the highest in the league. In the early portions of the game. That just meant that they were making a lot of action happening in the early, whether it's an invade on Raptors, a play through mid, they seemed like there's a lot of cohesion there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think Bugi is another jungler when we talk about when he excels and when he has excelled on TSM and Shopify previously. It definitely was when he was either he invades a lot and then also finding lanes to make plays around. Like, I really like when he gets involved with his lanes.
Okay, going up against NRG, let's check out the predictions for this series. Remember, Shopify 0-3 match score, 0-6 game score, and Inspired with the spicy, bold, behind-the-scenes take, 2-0 for Shopify.
Yep. I think it's NRG's game to win. Like, if they don't win this game, I think it's over for NRG this season. But I have a feeling that this break was great for Shopify, and they figured out how they want to play. So I have a feeling that they are just going to win it today.
I love it. I love the spice. None of us are super confident about NRG either with all 2-1 predictions, and I will say I'm a little more confident in Shopify after talking to Revan ahead of today's series. Thank you very much. I'm here with Revan, and you had a somewhat eventful break, actually. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Bugi substitution?
We felt internally that Bugi provided something that we needed, which was just in-game direction, outside of game direction. We weren't really decisive in any of our games. We just lost without any life whatsoever, and we needed some sort of change. And he was the best option on the table, and so far in the past 3 weeks, it has been going pretty well so far.
So have you been scrimming almost exclusively with Bugi for the entire break?
Yes.
And then with that, how does that change your confidence going into the match today against NRG?
Very, because against the lower tier teams, we were already doing pretty good, which is contrast to our current standings. But even against the upper tier teams like C9, TL, Fly, we're pretty competitive. I think even similar to spring performance as well. So that's what we're hoping to see in this second block of LCS.
That's good to hear. I've heard similar things from teams when they talk about playing against Shopify and scrims. But on stage, you're still 0-3 and actually yet to win a game. How is that affecting the team and yourself in terms of pressure with only 4 matches remaining?
When you're down bottom, and especially winless 0-6, you can literally only go up from there. So that's what we're all hoping for.
So anything we should look forward to in the game today?
I just really hope we even showcase like 80% of how we normally do in scrims, and I just really hope that happens.
All right, Revan, thank you for taking the time. Best of luck in the game against NRG today. Let's send it back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for our second series of the day, Week 4, Day 2. Shopify Rebellion taking on NRG. And you just heard words from Coach Revan for Shopify Rebellion, who are now getting ready to play their first game of the split with Bugi back on the roster.
Yeah, and I mean, you heard the confidence coming out, well, a little bit more confidence, right, than we initially heard in the thing that they released. Here we see Bugi. I really, really wanted to talk about how proactive he can be. He is a very heavy invade jungler. This is combined for this year. So even not having played for the first part of the split, he's still second in forward percentage of all junglers, first in team proximity at 14, and has the second highest counter jungle percentage. The other junglers up there is Umti, which Kobe and I have done some joking around between these two junglers specifically in terms of their heavy invade tendencies, let's just say.
And Bugi is enough of a change that Inspired was willing to say that they are going to 2-0 win this series, contrary to a lot of other, previous opinions, because Shopify stock was kind of at an all-time low here with not winning a single game so far yet. But an actual player change, like this is definitely, the biggest change that we have this entire week for any single team. Not only is a player changing, but Bugi is very, very different and very, very instrumental in how this team used to play. So hopefully for their sake, they can kind of reenact that.
Yeah, and like Inspired said before we were getting into this match, the play style that they played in spring is very similar to what can be really, really strong in the meta right now, right? Like, we already saw the brand coming out of Bugi. We already saw him playing the Lilia. We still saw a lot of, like, either AP, AD together or Insanity on something like the Scion or that one Garen pick he had that they were pairing with some AP junglers.
Yeah.
It didn't work out in that game, but...
Yeah, I think that the tank cooking should stay in the past because the really big point is for Insanity has been amazing on just AD mid laners that are not even Tristana and Corki. His Lucian was quite good, and he is a very well-known mid lane Graves player in solo queue as well. Yeah. He always likes a lot of these AD options in mid lane, so I would say cook more in that direction than backwards towards the tank ones for Shopify and NRG already. Yeah, you can see they're paying respects there. That illusion is because of Insanity more so than BVOY, I think.
Yeah, and we see the Sejuani and Kalista bans coming out of Shopify, recognizing NRG when they did beat Immortals last time. Yep. Contractz, obviously a huge Sejuani player, something that allows him to really communicate with his lanes very well. Ivern also taken off the table. That's another Contractz special.
Yeah, we have been talking a lot about what could be a potential upswing for Shopify Rebellion. The last week we had in the LCS split, week 3, was hopefully the beginning of an upswing for NRG, getting their first series win overall in the summer season. And a lot of that, I think, really relies heavily on how well Palafox is playing in his current form.
Yeah, I mean, Palafox, and then also I think the big thing for NRG has been reuniting the FBI Huhi bot lane. They do like to play a lot of hard-pushing bot 2v2s. We previously saw them with the Kalista lane. They do get Ashe in this, which is very much in their wheelhouse. Meanwhile, we're presuming that BVOY is going to be going on that Ezreal, as it is one of his best picks, and Bugi on the Zyra.
Yeah, and the Zyra nerfs on this patch were not very big. Like we were saying in patch review, a lot of the AP targeted ones for specific AP junglers weren't as big as people were thinking, and so the Zyra here picked right back up. I actually really like this. Brand 1 was also only 5 damage off of E, so Contractz is like, I can do that too. Thank you, Thank you very much. So nothing really changing there as far as the meta. Of course, the Ezreal is the kind of flex there. Could easily go into the hands of Insanity if they really want to. To me, the Lilia was the quintessential Bugi AP champ that he played before there was this huge, shift over towards AP junglers. So I like that little shout out from Insanity, even though they already have the Zyra locked in. Just having Bugi back on the team, shouting out some previous successes there. And it will just be the standard Corki Tristana round number 79.
Yeah, I don't even know how many rounds it's at, but the nerfs that came through were not enough. We are definitely still on AP jungle and then trading Trist Corki in the mid lane. But like you said, Kobe, I'm really happy that you called out how good Insanity can be on these AD mids. It was kind of a hallmark of his play before he was on Shopify, even back when you were watching him in NACL and Academy. He's always had a really wide champ pool, and he's done really, really well in some of these early lanes before the rest of the map has kind of collapsed around him.
The week 3 series that they had, he had a monstrous lead against Jojo Pion, even forced a flash early out, and we talked about on the cast, like, hey, this is where they should look trying to use Maokai to make that advantage snowball further, but they never got a chance to. But now that Bugi back on the roster, we know that Shopify wants to use his proactivity and his fearlessness and boldness to make these plays happen as soon as he sees the angle. As we're coming to a close on the second round of bans, Jace Braum taken by Shopify, Gnar and Leona taken by NRG.
I like recognizing that the Jace is something that Dhokla is more than willing to play in the top lane. It used to be something that they would obviously flex between 2 lanes as well, and like theoretically this Trist could go bot. I definitely don't expect it. I just expect Palafox to be playing it, but I like taking that away from Dhokla from Shopify as we see the Nautilus get locked in on Shopify's side.
Yeah, and they kind of telegraph a little bit too with banning the Braum themselves first, then they can go with the straightforward Nautilus engage. But you can see NRG toying with the counter engage of Renata, and then if that actually had gone through, you know, Cassante stocks are kind of going up here for Big Dokes up in the top lane, but they, at the last second there, do switch it over to the Rell for Huhi's engage. And those Cassante stocks actually never fell back down.
No, he's just going to go with the Cassante. It has been his kind of go-to blind this year thus far, as we see what Shopify are going to lock in for Fakegod over here.
I will say Shopify have a lot of disengage and poke in that 3-man core between Ezreal, Zyra, and Corki. Nautilus is there just to ensure that you have at least one guaranteed go button in case you start falling behind and you need to force fights in favor. But the way that Shopify want to play this comp, now with the Poppy locked in, it's all about disengage. It's all about kiting back, protecting your back line from getting absolutely onslaughted by the rest of NRG, who have more go buttons. They have Ashe Arrow, they have Rell engage. Cassante's not necessarily the best engage, but if you can find a good teleport flank, then you're going to have to rely on that in those mid-game, late-game situations.
All right, I would have to say, for a team that has won 0 games so far in spring, the Shopify hype is actually at an all-time high for me because they put Bugi back in. So I want to know from chat, are you buying in right now?
Bugi hype.
We are not going to let you buy into the Shopify hype train mid-game or mid-series. If you want in, you have to buy now.
Gotta do it right now.
So let's say a yes or a no. Is Shopify back in this? Are they going to win a game? Is Bugi the golden key?
I think it's hilarious because you yesterday, Kobe, on Waiting Room, we're like, Shopify is not going to win another series. This man said that. Shopify has a chance to prove Kobe wrong, and I also believe you have a bet going on with Razz.
I do, yep. Jalapeno bet. Jalapenos on the line.
Wait, are you just taking a bite of the jalapeno, or are you eating something?
We're eating a whole jalapeno. We're not just taking a bite.
Nothing.
Don't worry.
What?
Just want to make sure you guys are not going too
How high
crazy
is your
with that.
spice tolerance, Kobe?
It's not very high, actually. It's not very high.
Oh, no.
I remember I had you try chili oil I made on ice cream, and you absolutely hated it.
Wait, I'm seeing a lot of yeses in chat, actually.
Yes, we're buying into the Bugi hype.
They
All right,
believe
I like
in the
it.
Bugi hype.
It's looking about 50-50. It's 51% to 49% right now.
Very close. Hang on.
Whoa.
Contractz might be in trouble. The dredge line did not connect, but he still forced the flash away from Shopify Rebellion.
Okay.
And now that's a summoner spell advantage for Shopify.
It's going to get way higher than 50%
Yeah,
now.
Chad is going to pump that up now.
I think that's going way up. No flash on Brand. Did you guys watch the last game where the Brand jungle got invaded and then had no flash and got killed early? Uh-oh. I think everybody's going to be on the watch for some Brand invades now.
And I already like the proactivity from Shopify, getting deep wards into the red buff quadrant because they need to see where Contractz is going to start. Because with Brand, he does clear the jungle very fast once he gets all 3 spells, but the first 2 levels, it's pretty darn slow.
Yeah, and we'll see if they want to invade. I expect Fakegod to at least come around to do a little bit of early harassing.
And they already got their deep ward there, so We'll see. Should just be top side clears down towards the bottom side for both these junglers. Brandon, Zyra, of course, both just looking for full clears. The real interesting part will be the fight over Scuttle Crab to see which bottom lane is going to allow their jungle to have the prio there and which jungler has to bounce back up to the top side to go for top Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, and I'm also really curious about how this bot lane is going to pan out because, again, FBI and Huhi have been, and especially with kind of trying to get potentially a pushing lane with the Ashe, they really do like to go for some of these bot 2v2s, so we'll see if Contractz can kind of sync up with them as he pats down.
Yeah, Ashe mega OP early, and so they're slow pushing this wave. They're trying to build up the wave really large before they have any junglers down around their area. As you can see, the Zyra ahead on the clear here. Bugi winning the race so far down towards that bottom half of the map. And they've got the extra cannon wave here to deal with before crashing.
Yep, and Palafox does have a lot of pressure in this mid lane into Insanity's Corki, which should also be able to give Contractz a little breathing room.
Bugi is starting to wrap up the end of this clear. I think he just finished Gromp, is now working on that blue buff wall. Contractz trying to loop over to Krugs first before, or at least is kiting out that red buff before he makes his way over to Krugs. So Bugi will have a short window to make this bot gank happen.
Yeah, and honestly, it's pretty scary because mid lane push is in the favor of NRG, like you stated, Emily. So Palafox has the first roam from mid lane too. They have to be very quick if they make their move.
Dredge line connects right onto Huhi. Bugi gets some decent damage. Grasping Roots is great onto FBI, but it's not enough to really make a continuous gank happen, as now Contractz is here for the counter response.
Yeah, they're looking for, if they could get a summoner spell, or a large health lead, then that would kind of guarantee them prio to get that bottom crab. And so you see even Bugi sticking around to shove the wave to unlock his bottom lane and kind of guarantee that they're going to have the move to support him. So bottom crab will be claimed by Shopify, and Contractz should just beeline it, run straight up for the top side crab, because again, in the level 1, the brand has no flash, so you have to be very, very careful. Do not want to give over one of those early first bloods and your buffs.
Yeah, and Palafox still has some push and control over this wave, as we see Contractz taking that topside crab, just as you said, Kobe, and we have a reset.
Well, nothing super spicy happened outside of that level 1 flash burn. So for those that are maybe unfamiliar with Bugi's history, I actually want to bring up a little bit of that timeline of where Bugi has come from, because he was with the Shopify Rebellion roster originally, as he played with them in spring and kind of carried over from that TSM roster that was playing in summer. But for those that don't know where he came from, Bugi has a lot of accolades to his history. He's a 2-time region champion, winning in LMS with 2019 Flash Wolves and 2020 V3 Esports in LJL, and he was super close to winning it again in LLA with, I believe, either Furia or Ezreal. I mean, this guy has the means of what could make or break a win here, potentially the first win series for Shopify in this split.
And one of the things that Revan really highlighted in their explanation of why they're bringing Bugi back in, and Revan, by the way, also previously worked with him, so had some pretty good insights into his shot calling and him just having a more clear voice. One of the problems, Revan listed a lot of problems for Shopify, and the video didn't inspire like a lot of confidence, because they were like, oh my god, Shopify, we have so many problems, we almost don't know where to start and how to deal with them. But the main area that he did highlight was that their comms were completely clogged and they were not getting very much clean info as Bugi walks through mid lane and pushes Palafox out. But having Bugi back in, here we go. Huhi, though.
Bugi showed mid lane, so now Contractz is here for a bot gank. Nice seer to land the stun on Zeyzal. First blood goes over to NRG.
Brand still, even at early levels, just absolutely locks you down. The range on that as well. But nice seeing, obviously, Bugi going for grubs now, did try to reset that help Insanity reset that wave mid. Meanwhile, Contractz getting off the gank bot, which should give them Dragon Prio here.
Yeah, the funniest thing about that is that he just got his flash back. He's like, all right, level 1 didn't do much to me. He flashes in, they get the kill. But here comes the Zyra back down the river after Bugi took just 2 of the grubs. So the global alert never went off, and he just grabbed the 2 grubs really quickly and then ran all the way back down with his respawning bottom lane. Zeyzal got back up, and they're able to defend, and they push NRG off the objective. So while NRG got first blood, it's actually like 1.5 objectives here for Shopify, even a little bit more than that. On the return, nice little defense for them.
Yeah, that was a really nice recognition of the fact that they would be able to contest that Drake, because I fully expected it to easily go over to NRG after that bot side kill, and they got bot side control. And now it gives a bit more control back into the hands of BVOY and Zeyzal down here.
And like I said, he got 2 already, so you only leave 1 back up here for Contractz to then go get as payment for chasing him off the dragon. And the brand did so much work for Shopify, basically leashing that dragon for them. One of the brand's big strengths is the burn on those objectives. Burned it all the way down, but then they got shoved off. I always like when junglers make plays like that. Even the extra couple of seconds where you leave the grubs early, there's no global alert because you only took 2 of them, walking down the river, and then you show up with your hex flashing Nautilus over the wall towards river. So nice stuff from them. Honestly, those Shopify stocks that people were investing in so early into this match look pretty decent, despite the first blood money being the advantage for NRG.
I do think it's some of these small things that Bugi's experience can lend to, defending objectives like that, recognizing when there are some of these smaller windows to make, like, small plays, not like big game-breaking plays, but just little things that can kind of add up as they go into this mid-game.
Yeah, it's just the awareness of like, hey, I can burn these 2 grubs really fast, and then our support death timer is super short early on. We can actually contest them on the dragon, and that's why it's so hard for junglers being incentivized to start dragons in this meta in the first place, since it, even with something like the max percentage HP burn passive you mentioned on Brand, Kobe, it still takes a big time investment, and sometimes early on, if you don't have absolute prio from the surrounding lanes, you don't get to do it fast enough in time. So now we are headed into the 9th minute of the game. Second rotation of grubs and second dragon, not spawning for another 2.5 minutes. It's all about, Q flash from Huhi. Bugi forced to flash away as the arrow goes sailing wide past, and Huhi, now overcommitted, gets punished by BVOY. Contractz and FBI are forced to run.
Yeah, and that was, I was expecting like the full 3v3 bot, but even with NRG being able to get first turn on that, I'm really curious to see just all of that damage and lockdown coming out of Bugi Zyra there. And I mean, again, I do want to highlight BVOY as the kind of potential carry of this team. We talked about how good he is. He's in a really, really strong position coming out of this lane now, 1-0-0 with a slight gold advantage.
Yeah, and honestly too, like it's Bugi playing in the correct areas. I think already in this game we're seeing kind of the effects of him being in that play. He flashes Huhi's Rell engage, and they get the counter, the turnaround there to get that money in the right spot, like you're talking about. Get BVOY, some extra gold here for the Ezreal. So we'll see about NRG's counter on top side as they go behind the Baron pit.
Fakegod still has flash and ulti available, so it would be difficult for NRG to make this work. It looks like Huhi not going to commit to the play, already committed the recall. Bugi and Zeyzal also in the area, so NRG just going to call off the play for now. Objective still another minute before they spawn, so there's some time for NRG and SR to get maybe one more wave in if they want to get those resets in. I don't see any first item spikes for any team quite yet. It's just a lot of tier 2 rushes, so everyone is still fairly, I don't want to say super weak, but everyone is kind of even on gold, so these fights still could go either way depending on how the engages go.
Yeah, and one interesting thing that happened up there as well is that it did look like not only did SR have vision of what NRG wanted to do, but they were in a position where had they gone for that play, Shopify actually would have been able to collapse on them since Zeyzal was also on that top side.
Yeah.
So again, just it seems like thus far from the Shopify team, they have been a lot more thoughtful on the map, especially with where Bugi and in a few instances Zeyzal have been able to be to respond to potential NRG plays.
And that's exactly what Revan wanted, right? And he talked about how in Shopify the past 3 weeks, it seemed like no one was being proactive in comms. No one was talking through, hey guys, what does their next 2 waves look like? What does our next minute look like on the map? And right now, it's a huge contrast from the first 3 weeks.
All right, so next goal is to get 4 grubs here for Shopify, and Bugi heads over first. They get the mid shove out with their bottom lane coming up, pushing mid first, then getting the objective. Again, really good setups here from Shopify. They indeed are looking much more coordinated than we've seen all of spring. So honestly, even though the video itself to me didn't inspire a lot of confidence, this game, the real evidence in front of us is inspiring much, much more confidence. They are, of course, this time staying on top side, so they will sacrifice this dragon. They know this time around, but they want the dive instead on top.
Dhokla has Flash and All Out available, but it's a 3v1 against a full HP tank. The arrow from FBI stuns Zeyzal under the tower, and the Q3 knockup gets him back in there, but Dhokla lost about a third of his HP, almost about 50%, but no threat of a dive will happen soon.
Yeah, Shopify, nobody took tower aggro. Nobody, attacked him before the arrow came in, so they just wait out the duration there, and then they circle back around here as the dragon is finally finished up there by Contractz.
Huhi is here just to answer in case things do get dicey for Dhokla, but Zeyzal and Bugi starting to back off, look for control over this blue buff and try to steal that away from Contractz. Instead will be the play. FBI kind of locked in the mid lane, so there's not much they can do.
Yeah, and again, I do think Bugi is someone who will go for that counter jungling when he's able to. Just, I'm really impressed with how much more cohesive Shopify have looked, right? Just recognizing when they can make these plays on the map and also recognizing when they don't have to necessarily force them as well.
Meanwhile, from the side here for NRG, it's not going, terrible by any stretch of the imagination. They're doing just fine as FBI is able to get his static shiv. They already had the Kraken here up on Palafox, the Tristana, trying to get into those side lanes, trying to get some turret plate money in the last couple of seconds while the turret plate still existed, pushing out and gaining some priority for the reset now.
Yeah, they are the first double marksman to get their first item power spikes on the map here. I'm curious if NRG can find a window where they can just force a fight before Insanity gets his Trinity Force online. BVOY just completed his, is teleporting to the mid lane, so maybe no more a look on to the Ezreal, but maybe something on Corki, or just trying to force a fight where you have a clear item advantage.
I think teleporting up top side signals that the NRG want to go for this Rift Herald here because bottom side getting dove.
Well, Shopify is diving bot side, and Dhokla still has Flash, but the lockdown is so insane, and the Ignite helps tick down as well as Insanity's last bit of burn damage. 4-man committed to Dhokla under the tower.
Yep, and Shopify will end up getting that kill and that turret down here, and what they will trade for it. Like you say, Kobe, NRG was already going for that Rift Herald, and we'll see if they want to rotate up topside, join Palafox as he pushes this wave into turret. The thing that's super important about this composition from NRG is, again, getting that Tristana up against turrets so she can just mow them down.
All right, I kind of want to know, because they both get outer turrets in this trade. I want to know, would you rather have Rift Herald or a kill onto Big Dokes? Because that was basically the trade. Each team got an outer tower on the other side, and then one team got the Rift Herald, and the other team got to kill the top laner.
I'd probably take the Herald, but again, like,
yeah, top laner kills are cheap.
I think the big thing here is that Shopify now has like a pretty solid 1.1k gold lead, right, going into this. And I think even as we see NRG trying to set up on this bot side, well, I expect them to fully just scrap over trying to get mid cryo here.
Yeah.
But again, like, I think the big thing for me and Shopify is going to be, okay, now that we have this lead, now that we've had some really good positions and recognizing like where we are going to sacrifice stuff cross map, how are we going to use our advantages to set up correctly now?
But they're going to spawn the Rift Herald in the mid lane and try to knock out this tier 1, try and open up that map even further. But no one is going to escort the Herald. Don't tell me, guys, it's just going to die before it gets there. Guys! Oh,
Would
man.
you still rather have the Herald over killing
not
it?
at all.
Well,
Not at all. Not now.
I imagine
Not
that was
after
not
that.
what was supposed to happen on NRG's side.
Sell!
Yeah. Not a good trade now, unfortunately.
All right, well, they still get their split pushing Tristana. Palafox up here, able to push in this wave, and then we'll see if they can collapse again because 55 seconds on the next dragon setting up here. And they do have the rotation from him down early.
Yeah, and we'll see if NRG can get this up on here, get vision. SR should have that crab for a little bit longer.
The push from Shopify on the bot side first allowed them to at least contest for river vision. Now Zeyzal gets to step up, take out that control ward. It's all about mid-prio as Zeyzal goes in early. The flash from Bugi committing 4 Contractz. The jungler's gone from NRG. Here comes Dhokla on the flank, and they annihilate 2 quickly. Shopify Rebellion now have to kite backwards with this composition. Both of the marksmen are still alive, so they're fine. But now that both junglers are gone, Dragon is going to get a little dicey if they're going to actually try to burn it down.
Nice little counter gauge there from NRG.
Yeah.
They get 2 back in exchange for Contractz life. Like that one immediately coming out with Ashe plus Rell counter engage here is pretty big. Shopify still going to be able to handle their minion waves though, so we don't actually move a lot on this play. It's just trade on kills and +1 extra for NRG. Here's another look at it. So Zeyzal, I did like the start because he goes in and he's going to proc his Aftershock immediately, but look at who he's counter engaged. It was just better because Rell's able to get 2 with the AoE counter engage, and so NRG locked them down. And grab the 2 for 1. And now we get to go for another round of Dragon Party. They're teleporting right back out. Looks like NRG, though, sending a couple more members towards the top side of the map, so they might want to just give this one, allow Shopify to start stacking dragons. Meanwhile, NRG, in payment for that, do get these deep wards. You see Huhi going through the red quadrant of the jungle. Super duper deep wards for NRG on the other side of the map. But Shopify, dragon number 2 for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, Palafox could be in trouble down here, especially with Zeyzal joining. But they will be able to set up, NRG are going to set up that push on top side with the Cassante. Meanwhile, SR should actually be able to take control of this bot side.
I want to see, too, if either team is going to try and retake, because both teams have taken over red quadrant of the jungle for the enemy team.
Yeah.
So then when you're retaking, vision of the area that you just left, you have to be very, very careful, because both these teams actually have a lot of burst damage if you walk into them in these brush. So I like what Fakegod is doing. You know, super tanky Poppy over here, just goes very slowly, 1 brush at a time. You move up and try and retake that vision on your kind of weak side that you just left open.
And I like that point, too, because for Shopify, it's even more dangerous to be entering that top side now with Baron coming up in the next minute. If they had not been able to establish a stronger vision line for them to safely walk back in, NRG can set up that pick, 1 member's gone, and then boom, instant Baron for NRG.
Yeah, and we'll see how NRG want to set this up, because again, with this comp, they really, really want to have some sort of split push threat. Hopefully be able to set up on this bot side of the map as we see them moving down towards it to potentially get this turret and get onto Fakegod. Fakegod's gonna get out. But yeah, if they can set up this Trist in a side lane and then leverage that, especially down on bot side, and leverage that into trying to take Baron on top side. But both of these teams have just been kind of cross-map trade, like just trading objectives, retaking, and then trading the opposite objective.
Yeah, and right now we're at a breakpoint where Tristana on the 2 items with Flicker Blade actually completed does have the bit of advantage over Corki. And so they push on bottom side and then rotate to get 2 towers, grabbing the one in mid here. So the extra objective for NRG so far, but now Fakegod.
He found Palafox on the right side, but there's another fight that started in the mid lane. Zeyzal is the first one to fall, but Huhi follows up next. Dhokla trying to tank up all the damage as he walks back out. The Pyroclasm doing a ton of work in the back line, and NRG can continue this fight. Bugi will die the explosive charge from Palafox, and NRG have just gained a ton of momentum on the map.
It also seems like whoever starts the fight does not necessarily end up winning the fight, right? Because that was another, it started on 2 fronts. That was another engage coming out of Zeyzal where the counter engage from NRG has just been really, really on point.
Yeah, look at this, because it's 2 points of engage. Zeyzal engages on this main fight that you're talking about onto Huhi, and then we have the secondary one where Poppy is going to find Palafox against the wall, but there's no damage right behind him. Bugi tries to walk over to him, but then they have to divert attention, and it goes 1-for-1 on supports. The real big thing here is look at that brand spreading damage, baby. The ultimate bouncing across, and then Bugi has no escape, so Palafox goes right in with the flash, gets in range with the combo, ults him, just enough damage for the bomb to explode at the end as well. And again, it's another play where it doesn't move the needle tremendously, but it is plus an extra kill for NRG, kind of like the previous.
Yeah, and more importantly, this kill is onto the Trist, right? And she is going to, depending on how NRG want to treat these lane assignments, you want to get her in a side lane, you want to have her mowing down turrets, as we see them kind of setting up some vision around this Baron. But then the other person to watch in these fights is going to be Contractz, right? Because he is also a massive, massive damage dealer in a lot of these.
Yeah, NRG now have the makings of the ability to kill enemy frontline. They have the Liandry's plus the Rylai's slow for Contractz like you're looking at. Brand very good at melting through front lines. But also, even just the last Whisper, it's not full Lord Doms yet for Palafox, but he is working on it, and that extra money will make the front line go poof. Right now, though, Insanity at least is sitting on his Muramana transform, as is BVOY. So, Shopify looking to make use of their Muramana transformation poke damage with the Ezreal Corki here. Engage goes wide.
Shopify just walk it on out. Grasping Roots will snag up Dhokla in the middle of the river. But nothing really to be gained by either team. Just a couple of ults expended to fight for position in this mid lane.
All right, see what poke they can get down first then, because every member of NRG here missing a couple hundred health with some nice little chunks that NRG were able to poke on them early, and just a little bit of advantages in poke allow them to move in, clear out some of the vision here through this, I would say, most annoying Baron spawn.
Oh, I don't know if he baited that, but they definitely got Huhi to commit on the play, and Shopify Rebellion make a clean pick.
100% bait. You're Zyra. You know exactly what you're doing there. Bugi knew exactly what he was doing.
2,000 IQ.
Yeah, I think, again, another testament to whoever engages some of these fights has end up on the losing side of them. As we see, that should give SR complete Drake control, and after taking down this Infernal Drake, they will be on Soul Point.
For NRG, I was going to say about how much this series is important to them, because the remainder of their schedule, in theory, are way more difficult opponents than Shopify Rebellion is. So NRG, they have been keeping even. They've been showing a very strong showing in this game one. But I will say, Shopify Rebellion is starting to adapt. They're starting to realize, as both of you guys have talked about it, whoever engages first seems to be on the losing half of it because of how much disengaged there is on both sides.
And so I saw a couple of people in chat going, oh my goodness, look at that reaction speed from Bugi. And while it is, good reaction speed, it's also easier to react if you're expecting something. And so that's why you give him the credit for baiting, because he knows he's just this juicy looking Zyra walking up to that brush. Now the engage onto Fakegod, who is still really tanky,
Poppy.
and he soaks it. It does take 50% of his HP.
That's nothing. It's just really funny to watch tanks just like absolutely face take damage and then walk away.
All that for a drop of blood. Oh my. Fakegod just laughing off that engage. Thankfully for FBI, the Ashe arrow is a pretty low cooldown compared to other engage ultimates in the game, so he'll have it back up pretty soon. It's still another 3.5 minutes for Infernal Soul, so that's why Shopify is looking to push that vision line further and further on this Baron Riverside and into the blue buff quadrant of NRG. And they're trying to fish for picks, so it makes it harder for Shopify to get that vision line started.
Yeah, and for both teams, I mean, they're going to try to want to set up these waves to a point where they can potentially take one of these objectives. I keep waiting for either Zeyzal or Huhi to just go in.
They've been doing it all game. I totally understand the hesitation.
Yeah, I think we're looking for a little bit more poke damage here from Shopify. That was a good snare. It's just that they had Corki up in the top lane. So maybe if Insanity's here also, like you get a Corki rocket, perhaps a big one, plus the Mystic Shot, you know, some nice little chunks there. If they can get any sort of snares or any little bits of poke damage to set it up, then that gives the authority to Zeyzal to go, all right, I'm going in. I'm a Nautilus. I'll probably die, but, you know, I'm going to start out the fight for us. And since we have an early health advantage, we will be able to win. 2.5 minutes here towards the Dragon Soul, though. And Shopify, they've been diligently stacking up these objectives.
Engage onto the front line. Fakegod is going to take it all up. Pyroclasm burns him down. Dhokla with the huge 3-man knockup on the Q3. Can they follow it up? FBI and Palafox are chunked out of the fight, and Shopify Rebellion, despite the engage by Dhokla, they are not deterred at all by the engage at all. Shopify are able to hold their ground, take out Huhi from the fight, and they walk over to the Baron to reclaim vision.
Yeah, they burst the front line, they get the kill into Fakegod, but then they keep going into the full counter engage and into all of the Zyra damage here. So nice job there by Shopify. Sometimes on the fights, it's kind of hard because you want to be able to push your advantage after getting a big kill onto a solo laner onto the front line. But with there being so much damage still available on the Shopify side, sometimes you have to like take your win and back off, wait for your cooldowns again, and then look to press it a little bit. So evened up.
Take a look back at the replay one more time as Huhi was on the left side trying to look for that engage, and Fakegod is the one that actually starts it up. And I want to say baits NRG into looking for the counter.
Yeah, I was going to say, this looked like a big mistake from Fakegod, but then watch, both Insanity and BVOY are untouched throughout this. And then as we talked about, the way that both of these teams work, there's the engage and the counter engage, and they just got snared and all of the damage came through onto NRG.
You can tell what they're thinking from NRG side, because Dhokla's like, we got the kill, my Q is primed, and he saw a huge flash Q angle, and he got it, but then the counter engage of the Zyra, it actually zoned off both FBI and Contractz from following any damage there on the secondary like re-engage from NRG, and so they had no follow-up. Zyra is just so good at creating that much extra space. Now though, NRG gonna burn through this Baron, and it's plenty of time before the dragon spawns, so they can burn it and then run down to defend.
It's 4k HP. No one is near Fakegod. Keeper Verdict does not get in range. It punts out FBI, but the Baron has already been secured. Now for NRG, it's all about how fast can they get out and how many lives can they preserve. Huhi is lurking around in the red buff quadrant just to see if Shopify had any of their backline members a little too exposed trying to go forward.
Okay, so Baron empowered recall for FBI. He does have Hawkshot to help NRG try and defend against this soul. Even though Shopify will have the early move, they're going to have positioning. The advantage of Hawkshot allowing them to go into really dark territory. I wonder if they want to actually fight it.
I think NRG
they're going to give. They're going to go mid. They're going to give and go mid.
Him soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
NRG realized that it is way too dangerous to just face check into Zyra and a bunch of plants. They're going to take their advantage with the Baron buff, try to accelerate how many turrets they can get off this push.
What do you think about that, Kobe?
I mean, they made the call. It's just too risky. Even if they did, maybe they didn't have Hawkshot cooldown, or maybe they're like, even with that, we cannot afford to walk into this team. We already went over how many like counter engage options they have, and so they're like, it's better to just not die and allow them to grab that. So they made. I mean, the Baron power play right now is not looking the best, but we'll see what else they can get with it. Because I think Shopify are thinking, that's fine. You got Baron, you got a little bit of gold. We will take that any day of the week. We got an Infernal Soul here.
Baron is temporary. Soul is forever for Shopify.
That's true. And then also Insanity was able to get down and get that bot tier 2 as well off of that play, as we see NRG trying to see what else they can get with this Baron.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the real pivot point. Can they push in on this bottom wave and get a lot more done? Because Shopify, now you have to worry about all the extra burst damage from this Infernal Soul coming through with the already very high and spiky damage that they had.
The thing that Shopify have to be cognizant of is that if it's front to back, they win as long as NRG are the first ones to engage, because then they can set up all the poke. Arrow does hit BVOY, but he arcane shifts back, and Zeyzal steps in front to make sure that NRG cannot engage on the pick. But if Huhi is trying to threaten on the left flank, whoa!
Yeah.
Big shutdown from Insanity onto Palafox. And now it's a 5-on-4.
They sent Palafox to push in that mid lane.
They're going to continue.
He's going to die, and now they're TPing. Fakegod's TPing back onto NRG.
Yeah, they already used the death charge on the Contractz, and it slowed down his escape, but nonetheless, NRG do make it out there alive.
Yeah, the thing I was going to point out before, as we were looking at that bot side siege, is the fact that NRG had chosen to send Palafox mid to try to get damage mid, maybe sync that up as they're pushing into the base. However, SR rotated, as we see, he was going up against Fakegod, trying to get this turret down on the Tristana, and then Insanity is going to come and join the party to take him out.
Yeah, nice little rotation there for Insanity. Heads over. Easy kill for him that was set up by a Poppy. Poppy just does so much for you. Easily able to lock them down and basically nullify that Baron.
Yep.
That was the payment for a Dragon Soul. So Shopify here on the precipice of winning their first game. Chat was right. Razz was right. Kobe,
Kobe
not so right. Less right.
And I just want to say that, like, while yes, the roster swap from Tomio to Bugi has worked out tremendously for Shopify, I don't think it's all Bugi. I think everyone on Shopify has looked a lot better since we last saw them in Week 3. Fakegod is playing out the laning phase better, and he's choosing better fights. BVOY and Zeyzal are playing the lines better, and Insanity is also stepping up at the right times to accelerate the damage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a difference of, we went through Bugi's timeline, we showed just how experienced of a jungler he is, and bringing that kind of experience, he can bring a voice to the team that you might not see, that's an intangible, which is why they're looking a lot more confident and clearer in terms of what they want to do. But the other thing I do want to point out is, I had some issues, let's just say, with some of Shopify's drafting in weeks 1 through 3, and I do think this is a really good draft for the team, like these 5 players who are playing. And then additionally, just in this meta, right? We talked about how Bugi will fit well in this meta. Insanity has historically done well on AD mids. Ezreal is something that BVOY is like absolutely confident and intimately familiar with as a player. And I also really love this Poppy pick actually coming out of Fakegod in this game.
We are a couple minutes away from Elder, and Baron has already expired for NRG, with that next Baron buff spawning in just about a minute. Shopify, as you called it, Kobe, on the precipice of winning their first game in the Summer Split.
I should also clarify, my bet with Razz is for a whole series. Okay, so...
Arrow. Bugi flashed it. Huhi is going to commit for the engage. They know the jungler does not have a summoner spell anymore. Palafox tries to go in, but the Strangled Thorns has done so much work, taking out both of them, the marksman from NRG, and that means Shopify just cleans up the fight. Dhokla will get one back on Insanity, but the rest of the Shopify members can rally around, surround Dhokla, and leave him nowhere to go. Even in the all-out phases, it's taking a little longer to take him down. he might actually escape, I'm not sure. I mean, BVOY's got cooldowns. He should have another Arcane Shift coming up soon. Damn, Dhokla is tanky. Cassante things, I guess.
Cassante is so dumb sometimes.
He's just getting shot in the back over and over and over, and it doesn't matter. Dhokla walks it off. He walks away from it.
Oh,
let that be a lesson to you. Cassante's always got somewhere to go.
But once again, guys, it is the danger of engaging onto Zyra.
So, yeah, Bugi actually flashing in a straight line there, and it still got hit by the Ashe arrow, but you can credit him with another 5-head bait. How about that for the engage? Because the Strangled Thorns was huge, as you said, for the counter there. But then they have to deal with the Cassante, and they decide, let him walk away.
Yeah,
I heard it. We win. We win.
Yeah, we win. He knew that his death was not in vain. He was the sacrificial lamb and
Elder, though? Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same time. Elder is spawning. They're going to rush it. They're going to rush through Elders. How quickly can they burn it? So if NRG get the Elder, then it is the Baron buff on minions versus the combat power of Elder. I think they can burn through.
Can Bugi get in there? 4K HP, 3K. They push him away with the Buster Shot. Nicely done by Palafox. Elder has been secured for NRG. They burn through Zeyzal, and now Shopify have to be careful about further attacking into NRG.
Yeah, I mean, NRG have won a lot of games over the course of the history of this organization, of this particular team, being down way more than they were down in this game. So they have shown in the past to be kings of comebacks. Let's see if they could actually do it here versus the Dragon Soul. Now they themselves have the Elder, so a bit more powerful than the Dragon Soul, although it is on a timer. And it looks like we're going to have a reset first. So they want to reset first and then come back out immediately and try and use that Elder Dragon buff.
Yeah, and I mean, the loser in all of this has kind of been Baron, right? I mean,
Baron never wins. Baron can't catch a break.
We had NRG when they tried to set up that split push kind of siege into the base with Palafox getting cut out in mid. Baron not really amounting to much and giving that Infernal Soul over to Shopify. And then Shopify taking this Baron while NRG recognized the timing opportunity to take that Elder Drake.
Look at that negative number in the top left, okay? Negative Baron power play. That's the second one we've seen this game. Omega low, Baron's a bait. When was the last time we actually saw Baron win a fight, though? Because that just made me think back to, like, the Dignitas Baron.
Oh, no.
Of a long, long time ago. That's when Baron actually won, okay? When you said Baron wins.
Back in the green room, Razz just put his head in his hands. It's like I had to live through that in real time.
The last time Baron actually won the fight and actually ruled Summoner's Rift. Here comes the end of the Elder Dragon, though. 38 seconds left on this buff for NRG.
Yep.
And still another 40 seconds on the Baron buff for Shopify Rebellion. NRG have to remember that Insanity is without a flash for the next at least under a minute. But I don't think NRG can have or find the engage means necessary to pick him off, since Insanity is playing very cautiously, playing behind his front line. And Shopify, Patience game is awarded. The Elder Dragon will expire in just a few seconds. We're back to the beginning, y'all. It is, once again, still seemingly an even state, even though on the gold graph it says that NRG has a gold lead. I imagine that all of the stats you got from the 4 dragons has just given you a massive gold boost.
I mean, biggest one to me is item leads, and it's a full item advantage for Corki Insanity right now. There is an empty space in inventory for Palafox Tristana. So that is a large advantage, because the item that fills that space for Insanity is a Guardian Angel. Extra life for the Corki monster here.
That was a fun gold graph, just showing, I mean, how evenly matched this has been, right? It's been like one team takes an objective, someone picks someone off, the other team picks someone else off. These are 2 very explosive team comps. So we'll see how, with Baron coming up a little bit before Elder, but the timing window between those 2 objectives is very slim, and I actually expect to just see a lot of posturing around things for Vision until we get there.
I'm ready for a banger of a team fight.
Yep.
Wait a second.
Maybe?
Nice little chip damage. What is that? Through 400?
Yeah,
300?
I was like, how
many little millimeters of the health bar?
Good check on the...
I don't even think his... Okay, they finally took out his Rook and Shield from Dhokla. Starting to put a dent in these super tanks, guys. It's going to happen soon. And at Shopify, I don't think either team is really going to force a fight until those objectives are ready for the play. A minute and a half on Baron, a minute 40 on Dragon.
Yeah, the only thing now would be, since like stuff like the Ashe Arrow is such low cooldown, when you are like at that 2-minute mark, the 1.5 minute mark, you can fish around, because if you blow a flash 2 minutes ahead of Baron, 1.5 minutes ahead of Baron, your Ashe Arrow comes back up for the objectives, the Elder, the Baron, but the flash does not. So those are the things that you kind of look for when people are just hanging around waiting for these objectives. Nobody actually paying the price this time around, though.
Yep, there's a see Palafox pushing out top, Insanity pushing out bot. We do have a TP into the mid lane. from BVOY, and we are still posturing around mid. It's an NA ram.
All right, chat, which would you prefer? The Elder Dragon buff or the Baron buff? In this one, though, they're not perfectly synced, so it's not fair.
Yeah.
But in general, I feel like most people would prefer the Elder because then you actually get to win the team fight on pushing and actually get to go for the win. So that's why you see Shopify here, all their vision invested by Elder. They are hovering to that Elder side, even though it spawns a bit later than Baron. The power of that Elder buff that is just so big for the actual fight.
Especially if you've seen how these team fights have gone and the fact that we have 2 double AD carry compositions.
And the fact that we've seen 2 negative Baron power plays so
That's
far.
it. That also. I said Baron is kind of the big loser of this
I want to
game,
see if
regardless
anyone,
of who wins.
does any single person say Baron? I'm looking for
I'm
one
counting
Baron.
on chat to say Elder.
There's 8 people.
Wait, 8 total people?
8 people
oh,
in
it's
all
up
of
to
chat.
18 now.
Now it's going because there's memers. They're like, oh.
Hang on. Arrow onto Bugi. He still has flash, and the rest of the front line holds the line strong. So Bugi's not effective, but Zeyzal is blown up out of the fight. Fakegod managed to get and Keeper's Verdict on one member and punts Huhi away. But now there's 2 members from Shopify gone. Bugi now is forced to flash, puts down the Stranglethorns, but it only knocks up 1 member as Contractz have the stasis available.
Much better play from NRG this time. They just burn the front line, and then they don't all jump into Zyra. that was way better. They used the Tristana range. They used the brand, burning down multiple frontline members without overcommitting onto the Zyra counter engage, and it is NRG Elder buff part 2. Plus, they can use this one to go grab the Baron in the aftermath. Well, Razz, how you feel about those jalapenos, buddy?
And
chat too. You're not allowed to sell your stocks. You're not allowed to sell. You all bought at the beginning. I saw.
Chat is right where you'd rather have Elder. And I do hope we get another look at that team fight because, like you said, Kobe, the most important thing and the way it went well for NRG, thank you, observers, is that they're able to actually burn down the front line first. Right? And then everyone else on this team is super squishy. Obviously, Bugi getting stunned by that Ashe arrow in the backline also made a massive difference. And then BVOY, Bugi, and Insanity aren't able to get into the fight to do the damage. They just kind of roll forward with this bursty team comp.
Yeah, also like Poppy Ultimate on the Rell, who he's like, what? I wasn't even doing anything. Whatever. I don't care if I get ejected.
And it was also the positioning too, because in prior fights, as you talked about, FBI and Palafox kind of stormed right behind their front line, which makes them more susceptible to all the backline disengage damage from Shopify. But this time, Palafox was on that left flank, pressuring Insanity, so while they were trying to deal with Dhokla, Insanity couldn't fully invest all of his damage into burning down that tank since Palafox could threaten his life. As now NRG making this siege very quickly into the bot inhibitor tower, the arrow forcing the arcane shift out of BVOY. He's fine, but that inhibitor is not, and NRG are going to shift their attention now to the mid lane.
And guess what, Kobe? We see a positive Baron power play. Let's go.
Okay, let's see though, because you know, we've seen some throws, so still throwable. Let's just throw that out there as well. Maybe NRG have some miracles up their sleeves.
In the opposite direction?
Some miracles are actually tragedies.
Oh boy.
That's spoken like someone who's lived through a lot of CLG, NRG.
Counter logic.
This man has seen things none of us could ever even dream of living through. And Shopify getting chunked out. Fakegod winding up the hammer. Will punt back Huhi.
He really doesn't like Huhi.
Momentary 5-on-4. Insanity forced to flash away. Stranglethorns locks down a couple members, but it's an instant GA popped. Fakegod still trying to hold the line. Insanity thought freeze in. He blows up the FBI. Shopify will do everything they can to hold the line on this base defense. He's got a GA as well, so he's just fine. He'll be popping back up. Shopify managed to defend everything on this base defense, and Contractz is forced to run. Only a Nexus tower separated between NRG and a Game 1 win.
Oh, chat's gonna like this. They love it when Brand dies. Chat and Reddit.
They're gonna maintain the chase.
They're all Brand haters. Insanity is the hero that they deserve. Actually, David is kind of the GOAT here for the defense right there.
Yeah.
That was all Insanity. He has a Guardian Angel. He goes in, completely blows FBI up, and then grabs the extra kill. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing here, watch FBI and watch Insanity, and then just watch FBI's health bar. Also, I mean, the Stranglethorns does a lot of work too here, right? And even when Huhi is able to get back in and try to get an engage off, Insanity is still untouched, gets that GA popped, and yeah.
Yeah.
Revan?
Energy frontline's kind of like
just
diving
fired.
inhibitor turrets while Insanity gets to like solo flank.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the other thing coming out of here is this is
there were some miracles up
this
those
is
sleeves.
I know this is the longest game of the split.
Hey, we made it.
Shopify and
I was
NRG
here.
have delivered us that.
The Shopify fans.
You sound grateful, Emily.
Yeah, I mean, it's been something.
It's a heavy sigh of relief from all of the Shopify Rebellion fans in the chat as they witnessed what could have been the end of the game. But the fact that they held it, they're still in Nexus Tower, surviving in the base. NRG are going to have to try again, and this time have to be more mindful about a lot of these item cooldowns that Shopify have on their side.
Hello, YouTube, because honestly, this one's not even that close to ending yet. I feel like there's another defense in Shopify.
It's going to happen again.
They don't have a Guardian Angel for Insanity this time, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him, but I've got the faith. He sold
still
it.
7-1-4. He's like full. Yeah,
he
full
sold it. He got his Bloodthirster as well, so still full build. How much defense can they put up? It looks like enough. And I think it's just going to be a weight angle and go get the double mega buffs again for Energy.
Yeah, I mean, we have Elder coming up first in about 44 seconds now, so we're once again waiting to posture on objectives.
We're going to have to do another bet now. Or actually, we do like an estimation for what is going to be the length of this game, because we're already the longest game.
Yeah.
Over or
and
under
like
50?
I said, there's a while still going here.
I say over 50.
I would say for sure. I'm
Over
going.
50.
I don't know. I feel
It's
like
gonna be
once you get
explosive,
Elder
though.
and
Yeah.
Baron, the game ends pretty quickly.
I don't know, they had Baron and Elder last time and they didn't end the game.
Okay, let's go over 50. Woo!
Woo! Hold on to your butts, chat. We're in for a long ride.
Oh.
This reminds me of back in the day, we had the 86 minutes, the
Oh,
dream.
God.
The one where Riv goes, holy, they won the game.
Remember?
Yep. I was there. Here comes Elder.
Keeper's verdict. This time it punts back one again. Zeyzal lines up the depth charge right onto Palafox. He's popped. Shopify, who's going to get the Elder Dragon? BVOY secures it. Surely NRG are no match for the powder of the Elder Dragon. Shopify are blowing them up. Wait a minute, FBI pop too. This is still waiting for NRG. They're beating the Elder Dragon buff. Contractz, FBI, and Dhokla still alive. Shopify lost 3.
Holy non-rational gamers! They win anyways! They win those! Oh my goodness.
This game is nuts.
We're definitely going over 50 minutes
Way
now.
over
Yeah.
50.
Oh, man. As we see NRG, I assume they're just going to try to beeline to at least get set up on Baron.
Careful when you assume things,
I
Emily.
know, right?
Especially in this game. The assumptions have been turned around. They have been completely upended. Man, I thought too, when you saw this big chunk of damage, the Dragon was already so low, and then they get the Elder, but look at this turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice engage from Huhi, and then the big thing is obviously Dhokla being able to get onto Insanity and take him out as one of the primary damage dealers, and Fakegod is almost chunked out entirely, so he has to leave the fight.
And I'm going to say it. Brand damage.
Yep.
Brand damage is a lot.
Brand damage looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we marveled at how many times Stranglethorns won a fight for Shopify Rebellion, but Contractz Pyroclasm has been pretty sleeper OP in these fights as well, as you throw it in there and it starts bouncing around, and they were all clumped up, and then boom, everyone got popped.
Yeah, Palafox, you mentioned Palafox, I think that's a good one, but the double Guardian Angels are up, so Palafox has one, so does Insanity.
Yep.
For this next fight, although the Elder buff is still on NRG's side. Going to make that a little bit easier, plus of course the Baron, but we all know Baron in this game has not amounted to much.
I mean, Shopify have the though.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, and then NRG have the Baron buff, so we'll see. Once again, we are in the mid lane.
So it's going to be a stall. That's the best part of Baron buff. You can stall with it.
You can.
You can try and stall with it. Even the minions are still going down in the face of the Baron buff.
Is he hex flashing? Okay.
Yeah.
He thought about the angle as Shopify walked up to take out the tier 2, but backs off.
He's still kind of looking for it.
He has been for the past 20 minutes, has been trying to be creative. Arrow, it's a field goal, but a flash Magnet Storm from Huhi starts up the fight. BVOY is caught out, forced to cleanse and flash away. The whoa, the buster shot from Palafox pushed him, and the Pyroclasm bounced between two of the backline members. Shopify Rebellion are still only relying on Insanity and Bugi to carry out the damage here, but NRG still rocking with the 4-man damage core, and they could just brute force their way through the mid lane. They don't care about finishing off the members of Shopify.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, you know what? We are going to try to end this game. We'll see if Dhokla is going to try to delay maybe a few of these back.
Yeah, he stopped the Zyra recall, but that is it. So the Corki got off. Corki is here trying to defend.
We'll see if Insanity can do it.
No more GA for Insanity. GA still available for Palafox. NRG, even though they are down Huhi, this feels like the most confident they can be about trying to close this game while there's still 24 seconds before VOY respawns.
Yep, and we'll see. Definitely watch Insanity.
I mean, it's going to be 5v4 in 14 seconds.
Yep.
They got to go quick.
Gets popped. Fakegod. Now the last front line standing between him and the rest of the backline in Insanity and Bugi. He's taking a lot of damage from that Pyroclasm. NRG turn their attention towards the last Nexus tower, but the Stranglethorns pushes them off momentarily. Palafox has GA. He's just going to brute force that last tower. Teleport is coming in as well as Fakegod tries to protect the line here. Hammer Shock into the Keeper's Verdict, punts up Dhokla, and that's a trade-on back to Shopify. This game is still going!
We go again!
And down on the bottom side, we saw Huhi clearing out that minion wave because there was no way he was going to be able to get back to his team.
Hell yeah!
As we're going to see this mid lane fight again with Huhi coming in on the flank.
That is League of Legends right there. Here we go. This is the play you're talking about, Raafaa. The Buster shot shut down, bouncing them over next to each other. And that was the Guardian Angel going down plus the kill. The return damage is always so big, though, that they forced NRG back, so NRG couldn't get anything else, and they at least got one kill on support for themselves, and so they allowed to delay it again. Once we get this late into the game, everybody's gotta be really quiet. Shh.
Will they take the bait? Oh no. Insanity has flash.
Insanity, the hero of Shopify.
Here they jump! The arrow's there, but he doesn't get the bait off like Bugi did early in the game. Shopify.
Dude, that's the worst part.
Yeah.
You've all been there. Everyone's like pinging enemies are here, and so you go like, are you sure they're there? And you go check, and you die.
Oh, all right, surely.
Is that the way the game ends?
Perhaps. Fakegod punch back one. They still have BVOY. They still have Bugi for damage. It's all on the Zeyzal and Fakegod to be the front line, but it's an open Nexus, and Palafox still has GA. He can just hit Shopify.
It's over.
They will try to do everything, but NRG will deny Shopify's first game win yet. NRG.
I never doubted them.
We need
did.
chat to track how many times we both flip-flopped in that game as to who was going to come out with it. We were right, though, Kobe. Over 50 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we were so right. You know, honestly, we've been right about everything.
Yeah. I mean, that was a game.
Did you doubt them?
Did Jatt?
Did you?
Did I have?
Yeah, did you doubt NRG at any point?
Absolutely.
Raafaa, did you doubt
I doubted both of these teams at every point.
Towards the end, I started believing. But
Jatt,
listen, guys, you know what I do believe in? Fans, at the start of this weekend, there were only 18 LCS tippers left in stock online, but if you can't snag one there, we'll have more available for purchase in person at both the LCS Arena and Summer Finals. And speaking of finals, tickets are officially on sale for the LCS Championship at the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles. Head on over to riot.com/LCS Championship to claim your spot. With that, we're going to toss it to break. Game 2 will be right after this.
Banger.
banger indeed.
Look what I've just made. The perfect pearl.
Not too bad, but check this out.
Whoa, a true Venus clam.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Sea Blue Edition with the taste of Juneberry. Wings for every taste.